The sun glared off the glass walls of the Steel Motors luxury showroom in downtown Los Angeles. The air smelled of new leather, chrome, and ego. Inside, surrounded by billion-dollar investors and spotless supercars, stood Vanessa Steele, the company's glamorous CEO, a woman known as much for her confidence as for her arrogance. Her red designer dress matched the lipstick that never faded, even when she smiled at someone she planned to humiliate. That morning, the most expensive sports car in her new line, a $3 million prototype, refused to start during a live demonstration. Cameras waited, reporters murmured, and the investors were growing impatient. Vanessa's jaw tightened. Unacceptable, she snapped to her team. Engineers circled the car, confused and sweating. Nothing worked. Then, from across the showroom, a voice said quietly, "Mind if I take a look?" Everyone turned. Standing near the service bay was Ethan Cole, a janitor who worked part-time cleaning the garage floors. His uniform was faded, his hands scarred from years of manual labor. He wasn't supposed to speak up, especially not in front of Vanessa. Her sharp eyes scanned him with amusement. "You?" she said, half laughing. "You think you can fix what my engineers can't?" Ethan shrugged. "I can try," Vanessa's investors chuckled. "This should be good," one whispered. She leaned against the car, crossing her arms. "Fine," she said. "If you fix this engine, I'll marry you." The room burst into laughter. Cameras caught every smirk, every mocking smile. But Ethan didn't laugh. He looked at her straight on, eyes steady and calm. "Deal," he said simply. Then he walked to the car. For a few moments, nobody breathed. Vanessa's smile faltered slightly as Ethan opened the hood. His movements were precise, confident, like a man who had spent his whole life understanding how things worked. He didn't use the digital diagnostic tablet like the engineers had. Instead, he listened. He adjusted a few wires, felt the vibration of the fuel pump, and murmured something under his breath. Sweat rolled down his forehead, but his focus never wavered. In 10 minutes, he closed the hood. "Try it now," he said. Vanessa hesitated, but the room was watching. She pressed the ignition. The engine roared to life, pure, smooth, and powerful. The crowd gasped. The investors clapped. The sound of the supercar filled the showroom like thunder. Vanessa's red lips parted, speechless for the first time in years. Ethan just stood there, wiping his hands on a rag, expression calm but eyes gleaming. "Looks like I win," he said softly. Vanessa laughed awkwardly, trying to recover. "You got lucky," she muttered, but everyone knew it wasn't luck. Her chief engineer approached Ethan. "That was genius," he said, almost in disbelief. "How did you know what was wrong?" Ethan smiled faintly. "Experience," he said, "and a bit of patience." The reporters swarmed, wanting his name. Vanessa felt something twist inside her chest, part embarrassment, part curiosity. That night, after the event ended and the showroom lights dimmed, she found Ethan outside, sitting on the curb with a lunchbox beside him. "You made me look like a fool today," she said. He looked up, unfazed. "Didn't mean to. Where did you learn to do that?" "My dad owned a repair shop," he said quietly. "I used to fix engines before he passed. Now I just clean up here. Pays the bills." Something softened in her expression. "You could be doing more than sweeping floors," she said. He looked at her, half smiling. "You could be doing more than mocking people." For once, Vanessa didn't have a comeback. The truth stung, but it was real. A few days later, Steel Motors board demanded Ethan's involvement in the prototype's redesign. Investors wanted him to join the engineering team, but Ethan declined the offer. "I don't work for people who laugh at others for trying," he said simply. Vanessa called him again, this time alone. "Why turn it down?" she asked. He looked at her. "Because you didn't believe in me, until it benefited you." That night, Vanessa couldn't sleep. She replayed the scene over and over, his calm tone, his skill, his honesty. For the first time, someone had stood up to her without fear or greed. Weeks later, Steel Motors unveiled a new car, built partly using Ethan's ideas from that day. Vanessa found him at his father's old garage, repairing an old pickup truck. "I owe you an apology," she said. "And maybe a promise." He looked at her curiously. "The marriage thing," he teased. She smiled faintly. I was arrogant, she admitted. But I wasn't joking. I meant it, in a way. Ethan wiped his hands. You don't even know me. I know what kind of man you are, she said softly. The kind who fixes things others give up on. Their eyes met, and for a long moment, the silence between them said everything. Months passed, and Ethan joined Steel Motors, not for money, but for the chance to create something meaningful. Under his guidance, the company's designs changed, more efficient, more human. Vanessa stopped seeing herself as untouchable. She began to listen, to learn. One evening, standing beside a newly completed sports car, Vanessa turned to him. I guess you fixed more than an engine, she said. Ethan smiled. Guess we both did. The two stood there side by side. As the sunset reflected off the hood, a mechanic and a billionaire, two worlds once divided by pride, now connected by respect. And though the world would never know if she kept her ridiculous promise, one thing was certain: Vanessa Steele would never underestimate a mechanic again.